What's going on, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family, my fighters, my House of the Dragon, and Game of Thrones fans? I'm One Eye Bright, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about House of the Dragon. Spoiler warning for all things Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, especially the first episode. So first and foremost, I've never read the books, and if I say the names wrong, I apologize. That's not my goal here. My goal is to talk about the great show and series that hopefully is House of the Dragon. Now, right off the bat, I'm glad they said this. It is now the 9th year of King Viserys I Targaryen's reign, 172 years before the death of the Mad King, Aerys, and the birth of his daughter, Princess Daenerys Targaryen. So just to be clear, 172 years before Daenerys Targaryen. So they were like, here you go, guys, Daenerys and all the characters that we know and love from Game of Thrones. This is not Daenerys, it is Rhaenyra. And it's crazy that Game of Thrones has some of these crazy names. Why aren't they like Raymond, or at least we got Daemon? You know, like some of the names are just so crazy. But it's good to see Westeros back in there, and it's cool to see the dragons right off the bat. That was early on. Game of Thrones was like, where are the dragons? Where are the dragons? And then they finally came, and it was awesome. We don't have to wait because there's going to be a lot of dragons in this series. We get to see the handlers. We get to see the saddles. We get to see basically Rhaenyra, who is going to be taking over the reins at some point. Or is she? Again, I haven't read the books, or the book. I don't know what it is about going to happen. Are they going to mix things up? And I hopefully throw some twists and turns. You know, the book is the book and the show is the show and all that stuff. You know how it goes. But is something between Alicent and Rhaenyra? Is there going to be a romance there? Is it a friendship? Is there more than that? I'm not sure. As they're walking around, it's cool to see what's familiar. It's the same, but it's different, as it should be different, right? Last time we saw it was falling apart, and again, Rhaenyra and Alicent are holding hands. Is it just what they did? What's up with the little ball things in the dishes? We see them around, and I don't know what to make of it. It's just one of those things. I'm not sure. They brought up something that we'll see, probably something later on, about some trading thing on the water, and some guy's name or something. I'm guessing it's more plot for later this series, this season, and if we're going to get more than one season, I don't know, but it's cool to see what we saw at the end of Game of Thrones, even though it was the ending that was terrible. I'm guessing this is just him getting stabbed in the Iron Throne, which is pretty poor design. Like, why are you sitting in a chair that isn't good? And I love when the guy was like, yeah, I think we should cauterize it. And then the Grand Maester was like, I think we should cauterize it. He's like, yeah, I came, like acting like he came up with the idea. It was pretty funny. And the Targaryens love their baths. Game of Thrones loves their nudity. And they love to have their violence. And we got all that in the pilot episode. You know, I'm not going to break down the whole episode. But again, the Iron Throne looks uncomfortable. It looks pretty terrible. It's very not ergonomically correct, right? So it's pretty cool to see what's happening with these people already. You can already see the family drama that the Targaryens are going to fall because of their house fighting against each other, and we already saw that. You know, Daemon, which luckily we already have an easy name to say, he reminds me a lot of Ramsay Bolton, how he talks, how he may go against his brother and the family. I mean, Ramsay went against his dad, but it just seems like that's what's going to happen. You're all cursed with me. Is that foreshadowing? You know, so it's pretty cool to see where this stuff is going, possible foreshadowing. Again, I have not read the books. I'll say it again, I have not read the books. And like I said before, I hope there's twists and turns different from the books. And this is going to be a story that is going to really shape the framework of things. We know that the gold outfits were put together by Daemon, and he was getting stuff done. I mean, he was stopping all the craziness that was happening around here. I guess killing criminals and just setting an example. When you do this, this is what happens. And the council is like, yeah, that's not going to work. And Daemon's like, what? I'm getting stuff done. I'm the only one that's actually getting stuff done. They focus on the saucer dishes and the balls, the marble balls, or marble balls, but I don't know what it means. Please let me know in the comments what they're all about. I'm sure they'll get answered on the show, or will they? The jousting, the tournament just reminded me a lot of Game of Thrones, and it's a good way to have medieval times and stuff here. And I was looking for all the different sigils and just, you know, symbols for the different houses, and there was a lot of new ones, I have to say. You know, I was looking for the Lannisters and the Starks and the Baratheons and just stuff that I'm familiar with. And it's sad that Emma already died, that childbirth wasn't really good for women back in the day. And it was really done, I thought, well, that they showed the jousting and the battle with the Targaryen and the Dornish guy, I think it was Criston Cole was his name, and they were fighting each other while Emma was giving birth. Like, they were both doing battle, and Emma did say that her place is the battlefield, is, you know, giving birth and you know, having children. And it was done in a way that drew me in and just made me kind of interested in these characters, you know. And that's tough to do in a world that we're familiar with, but none of the characters that we've seen before are going to be here. And I felt bad for Viserys and Emma. You know, like, I put myself in their shoes, and Viserys seems like a nice guy. Like, he's just trying to have a boy to be his heir to the throne, right? Daemon is carrying on like, haha, I won. And then he gets taken out by Criston Cole, and he wasn't killed, but he yields. And it's just interesting, the possible foreshadowing here of, you know, Daemon's going to be a character that's going to cause problems, but I think his heart is with the Targaryens. He's going to be there to protect his brother and cousin and niece and nephew and whoever he needs to protect, right? And it was interesting, got all of the Baratheon sigil there. It's just pretty interesting to see what possibly could be happening here, and I'm excited where it's going. I don't know how many episodes the first season is, but I don't trust Otto Hightower, I believe his name is. He just seems like a slimy, grimy guy that is going to try and use his Hand of the King title to his advantage. And that basically happens time and time again. Game of Thrones is all about crossing people, double crossing people, and making sure you stay alive and just provide for your family. Now, the funeral was very sad, but we're going to have a lot of stuff like this in Game of Thrones, you know, or House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones stuff. Viserys looks, you know, broken. And it's a shame that his wife and child died in the same day. And it's just sad. And it's interesting that we saw Daemon and Rhaenyra be the people that were getting stuff done here, not Viserys. And I have to ask, are these two together? They're usually together, but are they together? And do they have kids? I'm guessing they do, but again, I don't really know much about Corlys and Rhaenys, besides that she was supposed to be queen, but they chose Viserys over her, so that come around to bite, you know, Targaryens in the butt. But again, Daemon is there for Rhaenyra to be like, hey, we're waiting for you, get this done, and, you know, take control of your dragon. Does Viserys not have a dragon? I mean, I haven't seen his, but we see that Syrax is Rhaenyra's, and Daemon has his own dragon. And, you know, we were all waiting for it. We were waiting for it, and she said it. Very much Daenerys. We were expecting it. And then how does the dragon know that she wants him to burn the bodies? I guess he's done it before, right? But either way, Syrax burns the bodies, and it's very sad. So as they meet right after the funeral, basically, the same night, it's just pretty like, come on, man. Let him mourn for his family. But they're like, oh, we're going to have this meeting because we got to know the heir. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Who is the heir? Like, he's dying right now, but he's not. And then the guy was like, you know, these people are just like rude to the king. And, you know, Viserys needs to step up and really just light the smackdown and just put these people in their place. And it's interesting that Daemon is just hearing this whole conversation. And when Viserys said he doesn't want the crown, he doesn't want to be king, and he smirks. But don't they all want to be king? Don't they all want to sit atop the Iron Throne? Right? Is that the plan here? Will he be king eventually? And then the Hightowers, right? This was kind of creepy and gross, where Otto is basically saying, hey, put on a nice dress. Alicent, go be with the king. Were they together? Like, man, and how old is she? How old is Alicent and Rhaenyra? They look like children. Like, are they 10 years old? Like, how old are these kids? And then we see the stone work of, I guess, Westeros, which looks amazing. We see Emma's ring. And, you know, he's mourning his wife. And then she comes in and brings a book to read to him. So did they just read and talk? Like, or did they get together? It just seems gross. And then who is this woman? I mean, I know Daemon was with her, but is that his mistress? And then when Otto tells Viserys about what Daemon said, who told him that? Was it her? Is she a spy? Because I'm guessing that he actually said it, but who reported back to Otto to say to Viserys about king for a day, which is in bad taste. You know, it's just pretty messed up, right? So then Daemon has to come in and get kicked out. Basically, Viserys is like, all right, get out of here. You know, you're a pain in my butt. enough of this stuff. And the whole conversation scene is very interesting because Daemon doesn't deny it. So he's truthful to him. It's like, whether you like it or not, I'm going to tell you the truth and what actually happened. Viserys actually listens to the people around him, and Daemon should have got in trouble for what he said about, Viserys' son and his family member, but it's kind of like he was cast away because the council said for him to do it. So then Viserys did it. Is Viserys just the figurehead at the top, but he's like a fake king? And what's up with him getting cut on the Iron Throne? Like, what's the symbolism here? That it's dangerous, that it's, tough to be king. It's actually terrible that you can actually get cut by the actual Iron Throne. Like, come on, change that up a little bit, make it so you don't actually get stabbed in the back. Or there you go. Is that it? He got stabbed in the back on the throne? Foreshadowing? And it's pretty cool to see the skulls of the previous dragons. They said at the beginning they had 10 dragons. Now, how many dragons do they have? Do they have them at Dragonstone? Do they have a couple in Westeros? And the whole dialogue with Viserys and Rhaenyra was basically connecting the dots with Game of Thrones, the main show in this one. It's just really cool to see them doing that. And I'm glad they did. They didn't have to, or I guess they had to, but they didn't have to. And it's interesting that Rhaenyra is going to be the heir to the throne, which is not going to sit well. The rest of the people aren't going to accept that. And that's the big thing. It's like, a woman can't lead. She can't be queen. Like the Hightowers and the people here and all this stuff. Like, they're not going to sit for that. They'll pledge their allegiance to whoever and then, when the time is right, overthrow them. But it's just cool to see the dragons. They do a great job with it on the show. You see Daemon and his chick here about to fly away. And I guess he's setting up the bonding with his dragon. And I didn't really get the dragon's name. I guess I could look it up, but just let me know in the comments, what is Daemon's dragon's name? Pretty cool stuff. Looks amazing. Like, it better look amazing, right? If it's House of the Dragon, your dragons better look great. So as the episode ends with Rhaenyra being announced as the heir to the throne, but the dialogue is mixed in with Viserys and Rhaenyra about Aegon's prophecy and basically the stuff, the White Walkers and everything there too. It was done really well that they connect the dots, in my opinion. And it's necessary, and I'm glad they did it. How about you? Did you like it? And I love the Easter eggs, the callbacks, the connections, the dagger right here. We'll talk about that later, don't worry. But as Viserys is announcing to everybody, and they have the ceremony, they love a good ceremony on this show, or in this series, in this universe, about Rhaenyra being the heir to the throne. It's just, I guess, much to do about nothing. And it's only the first episode, and we know we're going to have alliances, and people are going to backpedal and go against them, but I just don't trust these Hightower people, that's for sure. And I love the quick scenes with this guy right here, the Baratheon. I was like, yep. Borman Baratheon. It was just pretty cool. And the Stark. We're like, yes, we see the Baratheons and the Starks. I wish there was a Lannister there, but, maybe on down the road. And that really connects the dots well with Game of Thrones. Lord of Winterfell and everything there. We're waiting for the Starks, waiting for the Baratheons. Want to see some Lannisters. But if we talk about Aegon, and we talk about the Blackwater from Dragonstone and stuff, I can't wait for them to go back to Dragonstone. Hopefully they will. But Aegon's foreshadowing the end of the world of men. The terrible winter. Winter is coming. All about the White Walkers. So will we see them at some point in this series? That'd be pretty awesome. A Targaryen must be seated on the Iron Throne. King or queen. So Daenerys or Jon Snow, right? And also, Aegon called his dream the Song of Ice and Fire, which is pretty awesome. And of course, the dagger is the dagger that Arya had and used against the White Walkers. It just was too soon. Aegon's dream, A Song of Fire and Ice, was so many years too soon that we saw it in Game of Thrones, but doesn't mean that they can actually retcon Game of Thrones ending somehow, some way, because it was pretty bad. But so far, it's only been one episode of House of the Dragon, and I'm already excited for it, which is what I was hoping for. Game of Thrones universe coming back around, just connecting things that we know and love, and it's awesome to see where it's going. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Stay safe, and I'll see you later, guys. House of the Dragon. Yeah.